Just hang out. I don't think it's actually. I think it's just video.
Adam, for the sake of my sanity, just take the sellotape off. I'm getting epilepsy from seeing your webcam feed going black and then back and then black and then back.
One second.
We're all friends here. I hope.
Those activists might be a bad thing. Andrew says we're all friends here. I hope.
All right, yeah.
No one speaks.
Okay, so that was quite a good suggestion that we try and standardise the way we refer to the town hall and discourse. Is that easy to do that?
No, I mean, you can propose.
Daniel, you're going to have to speak up.
If you're, we could change it to say town hall meeting and then the absolute in UK format.
Or why don't we just have a single thread?
I think a single thread would be okay, but it's up to people if they want to comment or contribute. If they don't have access to the document, for example, it would be better to have separate ones. It also means we can search by date, which is nice.
Separate ones makes more sense. But it could probably do with a tag under Administrata or something like that. So something that separates it out from being the general stuff or the members tag or something like that. Something that says this is meetings, this is decisions, this is shit. So.
Yeah. Okay, we'll work that out. That's my thought. So.
Cool. Okay. Creative bursaries right up. That's on Hannah and I to sort out. Actually, we can deal with that separately.
Yeah.
Ben, I don't mean to overrun, but are we jumping ahead a little bit? Because I know that Connor raised the point about.
I've just lost sound.
Adam, you still there? Oh, Adam could sort himself out.
I think we're all covering
outstanding actions from previous meetings. Connor, I had a look through and I couldn't find anything in the last minutes that was worth putting through.
I wasn't sure how formally they were recorded.
Sorry, say again?
I just wasn't sure how formally they were recorded in case we were losing track of ones from previous meetings. But if there aren't any to worry about, then that's fine.
No, I had a look through, and feel free to look through yourself, and please do if I've missed anything at it. But most of the discussions last time around are all stuff that has been resolved to the best of my observation. So most of the actionable stuff was around about NEMS, and anything else that was semi-actionable is stuff that we've been working on for 2 years, so it doesn't really deserve an action point.
Sorry, you came in slightly late on that. So we agree.
No, that's okay. As long as everyone's happy, I'm happy. But yes, and I'll come to it in a second, but David, Dylan, Ben, and I, and the NEMS had discussed this earlier, or last week and the week before, that maybe the town hall should be split up in terms of, sensible subheadings rather than just being people. So we'll see how that goes. But okay, so Ben, do you want to really lead us on from there?
Okay. Anyone at any point stop me if you think I'm jumping ahead or whatever. Okay, so events, gathering lightning planning. Andrew made the point that he shouldn't be organising it anyway. We need to get speakers in time for, what is it? It's this week, isn't it?
6th, yeah.
Thanks.
Friday.
Well, should be this Thursday, hopefully.
Yeah, it's this Thursday, the 5th. Yeah. Well, first of all, from around the room, is anyone interested in giving a 7-minute? Is everyone familiar with gathering lightning format?
No, I'm not. What is it?
It's essentially 7-minute called lightning talks, short form talks, usually minimal visuals, if any, and it's sort of on any subject that you think would be of interest to people, and then throw it open to the floor for any kind of questions.
When is this going to happen?
Thursday, hopefully. We have pulled them together at the last minute before, although this is, it's always a bit of a danger.
Is anybody else speaking?
At the moment, I don't think we've got
Not
anyone
so
there.
far.
Usually what we find as well is that on the night people come up with talks as they're
Yeah.
there, which is always quite good. So
Realistically, from my experience of running these, you only realistically need 3 plants, as in people who you've already pre-set up. So every time that we've had a Gathering of Lightning, it has ended up with, my 3 plants and then a load of other people jumping in. So, which is great, but it makes organization a little bit weird. The thing that we're missing at the minute for this one, and it's my fault, is PR, because we haven't been pushing it because I've been actively trying to stand back. But
It's okay.
I've said that I'm going to speak to Glenn after this about because I've been sort of helping out with some of the other ones.
well, can somebody throw together a blog post about it? The Eventbrite. Did I put together the Eventbrite for you guys? I can't remember. I'll tell you what. Is Glenn there? I didn't see.
No.
Claire, can I grab you for a little bit after this?
Yeah.
Just with a personal one, and then we'll sort it out.
Well, if you need people to speak, you don't have anybody to speak at the moment.
Correct.
I'll do it.
Thank you. Brilliant.
There we go. But Claire, I'll grab you after this off the record, and we'll get the details hashed out.
Am I required to cut my finger in blood and
Absolutely.
It's in the document. That's it. So I'm stuck now. But it's Thursday, right?
Thursday.
All right. Yeah. All right. Thursday. What time?
6 o'clock.
All right. We can do that.
What was your title?
Was I'd make them the explosives.
I think you should speak, David. Andrew's not here and he can't do anything about it. You've got the backing of the community section.
You were playing with fire the last time. It'd be nice to see something go pop.
Yeah, take it.
So it's a 7-minute talk, is basically.
Yeah. 7 minutes.
Bron, it's ridiculously easy. It's I think actually about 50% of the table in front of you have done Gathering of Lightning talks before. The entire point of them was that it was just people sharing their projects. So actually, Mark, I'm looking at you as potentially talking about your stuff because your stuff is different and cool and interesting. So 7 minutes with no prep required. No presentations, no PowerPoint, no nothing like that. To be honest, it's literally a case of talking about what you care about.
Okay, just have fun.
7 minute limit isn't a lot.
Mark, you in as well?
Can't commit to Thursday.
Can't commit, but you'll be on the list anyway.
We'll just assume you'll be there.
That's how it happened last time, I'm pretty sure. So.
Yeah, if you want to not do something Andrew plans, you have to show him proof that you're somewhere else. Otherwise, he's like, no, you're doing it.
You need to get like a green screen and take yourself a picture of yourself, like in Norway or something. Be like, no, I told you, I'm not here.
Oh, you're in the document now. You're stuck aside.
Okay. On events, then I bumped into Andrew Mulholland about 3 hours ago, who I think is organising the Artemis spaceship bridge thing on this coming Friday evening.
So what's the thing now?
So it's a game where you get at least 5 people in the room together, each on their own computers, and they each take up a role. It's like the Starship of Enterprise bridge. You have like a navigation and I don't know weapons. And
I want to fire the phasers.
Right.
I'm
Exactly.
that guy.
And it's just it's a collaborative strategy game. So it's really good fun. And basically, he was asking if anyone could help because he's got to get a train home at like 10. And there's a good chance that people will want to hang around till late. So I was wondering if anyone's up for geeking out on Friday night.
I haven't worked yet on Friday night, I'm afraid.
Okay, we'll put it out on Facebook.
I will probably be about, but I'll have done 5 hours at some good regular Oxford physics, so.
That probably suits because you'll just scream.
I'm probably
You can be the engineer.
midway through just an average mission, I'll check the matter and the matter after. Instead of solid.
Yeah, I'll put it out to Facebook. Yeah, I got put my hand up here and say I haven't done what I should have been doing. Tomorrow we're supposed to be having this electronics workshop with Sebastian from Packbox, but I haven't sort of organised anything, and I haven't. I mean, put it up on Discourse, and I don't think we really got any response. So, do people still want to do something, or should we put it off for now?
Well, I've just deleted the event, so if it's not happening, it's not happening, and 24 hours ahead, there's very little we can do. But it's a good event, and it could be really interesting.
I'll give Seb a call in the morning anyway, just to sort of clear things up. Okay, one other one. I agreed to do something on Wednesday. It's not really an event. So this guy, Tom Griffiths, who was kind of leading an open project to try and develop a new, more positive kind of brand for Northern Ireland. It's a really big project. And part of that is they were talking about getting together a decent way for businesses to network with each other online. But for Northern Ireland, cutting a long story short, basically LinkedIn do seem interested in us setting up somebody setting up a kind of Northern Irish-based business network. And I just said it sounds like an interesting project to brainstorm in front of the blackboard. So if anyone's keen to join us at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, I'm just looking for a good mix of people with ideas as to what how it might end up being a dead end.
Thank you, John. I'll participate.
Brilliant, thank you.
How long do you think it will go?
Well, however long people want to be around for, but I'd say.
I might be able to come.
Brilliant. I've blocked that 2 hours, but I would have thought that's quite a long time. There's other stuff relating to the whole brand and our project. If we want to, we can shift and stuff like that as well. But as the focus will be on the links and our. Cool. Coda Dojo.
Yes, I've discussed this with the directors that I'm going to continue Coda Dojo over the summer. What me and a few of the other mentors are thinking of doing is doing have 4 sessions as a set course. So say like we've got a Lego Mindstorm over there, so for those 4 sessions they'd learn how to build and program the Lego Mindstorms, but basically we want more than just one course. So we want maybe 2, 3 or 4 different courses. So it's just open to anyone if anyone fancies teaching a course for 4 sessions at Coda Dojo.
Well, first of all, anyone in the room?
What subjects?
It's open to, I mean, as long as it doesn't conflict with another course, so then it's varied. One of the mentors has said that he's interested in maybe doing a game maker. So there's possibly game maker, Lego Mindstorms, and it'd be great to maybe have 2 more.
Are you still wanting to do the Arduino with the kids as well? Was somebody not wanting to do that?
Yeah, Robin is deciding whether or not he wants to do a project and whether he's available for the 4 weeks, so he needs to get back to me. But, yeah, so it's just open if anyone.
It's on the discourse. So.
Yeah, it's on the discourse.
So yeah, get involved in the conversation.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hannah.
Well, this kind of folds into what I'm about to segue into, so we might as well fold it into one conversation. I've had discussions with pretty much everybody involved about having a older version of the Coda Dojo. So having something, because I know, Hannah, you've done an amazing job with the kids, but you know as well as I do that there's a great difficulty whenever they get sort of past a certain level of technical understanding, that it's really difficult to get the mentors to be able to handle them, especially whenever they're older kids. So once you hit the sort of 12, 14 barrier, you have to have a completely different event around them.
I mean, they need more structured projects.
More structured projects and more structured goals and more sort of, right, you go and do this. And that's something that doesn't gel very well with dealing with the kids or the younger kids. So what I'm proposing, and I've kind of discussed this with the rest of the directors, and I've kind of discussed this with a few other people as well, but I wanted to have it ratified through the Grand Town Hall. But the idea of having we've got Coder Dojo at the minute on the alternating week, and to take the other alternating week and hand that to Adam and basically say, right, go do the older kids because it's what you're better at doing, and to take the sort of 12 to 18 group, give them more challenging problems, more challenging structure, and be able to provide a proper pathway that says, yeah, you come in with your kids to do Coder Dojo or your younger kids to do Coder Dojo in the morning, or sorry, not in the morning, in the alternating Fridays, and then the older kids can come into the later ones. So, Adam, I'd like your thoughts on that.
I'd be happy enough to get involved, although I wouldn't be able to do much until after really the summer period. But
whenever you say after the summer period, are you talking about the start of the new academic year?
Around that, yeah.
Are you happy enough with it as an idea?
Yes.
Okay, Hannah, what do you think?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
The reason why I suggest it is that I know, and from running Coder Dojo before, and from sitting in on some of the recent ones, or not so recent, but still, there's a big difficulty where you've got loads of younger kids doing stuff that is easy to get mentors for. We'll put it that way. So it's
Yeah, I mean that's the problem at the minute. Is we do have mentors that can do Scratch and basic HTML, but we don't have mentors that can go advanced stuff, which is what the older ones want.
Okay, so do we want to say with a task on Adam to put together a vague but useful, not quite curriculum, but at least a vague plan, similar to what we had for Coder Dojo originally, and to start looking at putting together mentors lists for the new academic year, not worrying about over the summer. We'll leave it over the summer. Coder Dojo as it is fine over the summer, but for the new academic year to put together something for the older kids.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
You happy enough to take that on?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do we have any other Coder Dojo shit that we need to deal with?
Possibly on the topic of classes. One of the things.
Oh, hello, Martin. Didn't know you were there.
One of the things I'm interested in is the online classes that are run by the likes of Stanford, particularly in relation to entrepreneurship. I know there's a technology and entrepreneurship course coming up in the summer, and there are other courses that you could start immediately. I'm just wondering if it would be possible to host something like that here in Farset Labs, not run it, not effectively give classes, but effectively have somewhere where people can come to, that there's a laptop plugged in and somebody presses play on the online presentations or slideshows.
Well, I think I've said it before, but I think it's great, and the way I would do it is to say, unless it's conflicting with an event, I mean, it doesn't even matter anyway, because it doesn't have to be in any one specific room. This is the obvious one to do it in, but like, I will be in the space at this time doing this course. Does anyone want to join me? And what I'd love to see is down the line that actually almost becomes competitive, where you propose to do a particular course, but then someone says, actually, I'm going to do this one. This is more interesting. Why don't we do it together? I mean, I would like to do it myself, but I'm just too lazy to talk about it most of the time.
Just as a little bit of feedback, I was speaking to the, what do you call the guy that's responsible for events? Glenn. I was speaking to Glenn last week because I was actually thinking about hosting one tonight, just to get the thing kicked off. And it was very loose, so I mentioned it on my Facebook page, and about 6 people showed an interest to come on. So these are 6 people that, as far as I know, aren't members of Farset Labs yet, who would have wanted to come down and spend an hour sitting here, just basically networking and maybe learning a little bit about entrepreneurship. And the way I'm thinking of formatting it is that there's absolutely no ties. So it's not the case you have to sign up for it and you must be here and you must go. If you turn up on the first night and you find out it's rubbish or it's not for you, that's okay. But it just gets a conversation going round and round technology entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship generally, or small stage startups, or if you've got an idea for a product that you're going to build here in Farset Labs, what do you do next? Just a way of seeding those conversations.
Well, how have we left it with non-members coming in? Is it still it's a £5 day rate?
No, Ben, I think there's an opportunity here to jump on top of a what do you call it? Basically, we've already done this before. We've got the Wednesday evening free bookings for user groups. So there's absolutely no reason why we can't turn around and say that there's a, what's the abbreviation used for these? MOOCs? Yes. There's no reason why we can't turn around and say there's a MOOCs user group, meetup, whatever the hell you want to call it, and give them a couple of Friday or a couple of Wednesday evenings gratis without having to worry about whether they're members or not, or whether they're joined up or not, or whether they need to pay or not, and just basically say, look, if you come down to Farset on a Wednesday night, you'll learn something interesting.
How does that sound to everyone? They make Wednesday night almost like a education Farset Academy.
Sounds brilliant, actually. Farset Academy.
Oh, don't start that. You'll get us building curricula and shit.
No, I'm just trying to get funds on the word MOOC now.
Everyone's sitting here.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Does anyone want to take a lead on that?
Not quite yet. We're not quite finished with Coder Dojo. We need to sort out the box.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've got that, I think, written down at the end.
You had it under AOB, but I moved it up to...
I can't look at my notes because you're on my screen.
I had it under AOB, or you had it under AOB, but I moved it up along with the rest of the conversation. Hannah, we need to get an inventory of that fucking box because, you know, there have been so many things that have been put into and out of that box that it's difficult to keep track of what's actually supposed to be there. So, for instance, there's some of the pies that were donated to Farset for Farset, not for Coder Dojo, that have been lent by Farset to Coder Dojo for the time being. So we have to be careful of how these things go out. So we just need to get a track of what's currently allocated to Coder Dojo so that whenever we need to do projects, we can assess whether we can take those from the Coder Dojo box. And, you know, we basically need to be able to keep track of these things. And as it stands at the minute, I don't think there's any publicly available inventory of what is currently assigned to Coder Dojo.
Yeah.
So I think that's, as far as I'm aware, or as far as I'm concerned, that should be an action on you to just write up a simple inventory to make sure that we can keep track of these things.
Yeah.
I know it's been a pain in the ass recently because, you know, people always flick in and, oh, sure, I'll just borrow a pie for a while. Oh, wait, no, it's now stuck in a mess of cables that is never going to get out again. But the first step to solving that problem is keeping track of these things.
Yeah.
Just for context, is it worth pointing out what this is all about? So more of the equipment's gone missing, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's stuff, the Coder Dojo stuff keeps on either turning up or going missing. Like the SD cards that Daniel donated to Coder Dojo, 2 of them have gone missing. And a power lead for one of the pies is missing as well, and an SD card for one of the Google pies. So,
is it worth having, I think I can't remember if I had this in notes or not, but as well as an inventory, having like a sign-up sheet, so that if yourself or Adam or anyone else is taking stuff out, you have to sign and say, I took these things out, and I sign that they're back in.
Yeah, that may be a good idea. I'll sort that out. Yeah, yeah. It's just the fact, like, you know, I mean, it is Coder Dojo stuff, but, you know, I'm happy enough for people to use it if Coder Dojo is using it.
Yeah, but this way you'll know that they put it back afterwards.
Yeah, just by put it back. So.
Yeah, I mean, the way to put it, I mean, I took a load of stuff for an event on Friday, which I then rushed out and got a taxi and didn't write down what was taken. But basically, if something gets taken out of the space and there isn't even a note to say that it's happened, just basically steal it, even if you intend to get it back. Because until it comes back, it's essentially stolen, so it's just worth bearing in mind. I don't think any more Coder Dojo stuff?
No.
Okay. Disappointed to walk through any other upcoming events. Is there anything else that any other event issues that people are aware of?
Sorry, can I just finish off the Farsight Academy thing? So Wednesday nights are the nights when I start to discuss it across my profile, and it's okay for me at 7 o'clock and plug my laptop in and turn the PowerPoint on. That's agreed.
That's fine. Were we putting Wednesday aside? Wednesday was a different thing each week, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I thought we were doing that on Tuesday because Wednesdays still are user groups. I might remember when we tried to do Tuesdays to be like electronics or crafts or whatever, because that's when the Sebastian's thing was.
But what I mean is, because I presume you'd want to do something once a week, wouldn't you?
Yes. So basically, we start a course and say for 6 weeks. This is going to be on. I mean, the night doesn't bother me as long as I know that I'm not spending anybody else's toes.
So that sounds fine, though, still, isn't it? Yeah. So, yes.
So Wednesdays. Okay, starting next Wednesday. Farsight Academy, if anybody wants to learn about technology and all. So.
I'll add it to the calendar.
Yeah, the only other event was the Reddit meetup.
Oh yeah.
Which like I don't even know how many people here actually are on Reddit apart from me, because I'm that cool. But basically it's Global Reddit Meetup Day, so it's trying to get a world record every year for the number of people just meeting up all around the world. So the people in the Belfast, Northern Ireland in general, but particularly Belfast, were sort of loosely putting stuff together, and we were thinking of just getting Farsight involved, even just as a way to meet other tech people that don't really know we exist. So I'll be chatting to Dan about that more, and we'll probably be putting blog posts and stuff up, but just if anyone else wants to get involved or turn up or whatever else, just keep an eye out for it, or let me know, or let Glenn know.
When is it? Again?
It's the 14th of June.
Is it in the calendar?
I might hear, but I'm moving house.
No, not yet.
I'll put it in now.
No, it is in the calendar.
Oh, is it? Cool.
It definitely should be since I put it there, but yeah, it is. So we've got Clear the Space from Saturday the 14th through to Monday the 30th. The idea being, now guys, please correct me as I go along, but the idea being that in the first week we move all of the shit out of the storeroom / project room into desks in the event space. Then we collectively take the interesting stuff back into the storeroom / project room and put it back in sensible places. Anything that's left behind that we collectively don't want either gets collected by the people who originally made it or are interested in it or whatever, and then in the second week we start throwing shit out.
Yeah, that's what we agreed.
Because the problem is that I'm not entirely sure whether we're a hackerspace or a museum. We can't be both.
To be a museum?
Say again?
Said, are we fancy enough? We need glass cases and expensive
I don't know.
things
Have
to be
you
a
seen
museum.
some of those like dodgy American roadside museums and stuff?
Oh yeah, that's true. It's just like a garage with things in the corner.
This is my country.
No, I'm just dissing
Okay.
some of the crazies in your country.
There are crazies in every country.
I know, but ours get
The
violent.
Americans just have more room.
They just do museums.
True.
But no, I mean, it's a difficult one because yes, we would love to be able to keep all of this lovely eccentric shit. The problem is that we need space for actual projects, and we need to be able to organize this shit, and we can't do it with a million pieces of ephemera that people have collected. And I know I'm as bad as anyone else. I basically, whenever we started Farsight Labs, I dumped my parents' attic into the labs. I dumped my library into the labs. And yeah, some of that shit needs to be thrown out.
Yeah, everyone in agreement there?
Yeah.
As it's one of those things, it's going to be an all hands on deck kind of job, like when we've done decorating and stuff like that before. And committing time for this thing is difficult, but if you can make it down, even just drop in.
Surely this is the perfect time. If we just leave it out in boxes, it'll mysteriously disappear to the car park up the road. It'll be fine.
I thought we already did that with the pallets.
I know, but I'm sure they'd appreciate more.
Speaking of which, is John there?
Yeah.
Yeah, my balcony's like.
Hello.
Why I don't want to die of electronics fumes.
Hey, Andrew. The Reddit night's not in the Farsight calendar as far as I can see. Have you put it in your own calendar by accident?
No, because it's not a Farsight event. It's a Farsight people going to something, and I don't know whether I think you might have seen the conversations between Glenn and Claire and I. That the idea that makes more sense is basically advertising it as somebody else's event, because frankly I've been to enough Reddit meetups to know that going to somewhere that doesn't actually serve drink, as opposed to you know the little sort of accidental thing that we've got on the side, is never a good idea.
The plan is barbecue in Botanic apparently, and then
What?
So I don't know who's going to be managing the barbecue. Unless Niall.
It'll be like 50 people turning up with those
yeah.
wee like metal tray things and a packet of
sausages.
sausages.
It's bad enough when I try to hoard them around from pub to pub. Trying to get them to do barbecue is going to be awful.
Barbecue?
Yeah, but
no, somebody has asked for a barbecue. They haven't actually said that they would make a barbecue.
No, the top
Two very different things.
Top voted thing is barbecue apparently, so we're just waiting for somebody to volunteer.
Because I'll vote for barbecue.
Bloody democracy. Right, anyway.
Anyway, not our problem.
No.
My problem.
Any other event-related topics, or can we move on?
So can I just ask, is there a date for the clearing up of that room?
Yeah. If you can see it's in the Farsight calendar. It's from the 14th right the way through to 30th. But to start off on that weekend of the 14th by moving it into here. Obviously, if everything stays in here for ages, it's going to be very disruptive. So the sooner we can turn that around, the better. But we've learned in the past that if you try and do everything in one day, it doesn't happen. It ends up being 2 or 3 days separated out by a week or so.
But as I said in the agenda, this is really the last time that we can do this for a long time. It's been about, what? It's nearly been about 9 months since we've had a usable workspace. I mean, this really has to be the last time. And previously, people have known that I have stood behind people who want to hold on to stuff. Not this time around. If you've got shit left on desks at the end of week 2 of the clearing the space, it's gone. I will pay for the Wii myself. I will pay for the waste reclamation stuff and the electronic waste laws, whatever. But it's gone because, as I say, we've ended up accumulating an awful lot of shit that is never, ever, ever going to be used. We've got stuff from day 1 that has not been touched.
Yeah, is there anyone that no one's...
I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you.
One question, how are you going to sort from stuff that's in progress and stuff that's...
I think that's going to be
covered in my
another
next point as well.
involvement thing.
Yeah,
It's going to have to be a come down and claim your shit.
Yeah.
If you're
The
not
short answer is that you're not gonna, your shit is not going to be taken away. It's you've got an active project. Everyone knows you've got an active project. That doesn't count. We're talking about stuff that's resting at the back of those shelves.
Next one. Just a point sort of on the project room, but also everywhere. There's a couple different projects, whether it's computers or big projects or whatever, that have to sit about, whether they don't fit in project boxes, whether it's things like the hard drives that need to sit out for a while, and that's fair enough. But if you're using something that needs to sit down, please remember to leave a label on it. If it can't be moved, say that on just a page or something. Because there's been more than once where somebody's moved someone else's project and damaged it or turned it off when they didn't realise, or whatever else. And I just don't want the risk of it.
Is you shouldn't be leaving stuff running constantly in the space as well. So there's that argument to it.
I mean, yeah, there's some things that need to run, or in the project room, obviously it's a bit more lenient, like your own projects and Robin's where it needs to take up space.
John, we knock up some big wheelie trays and then they can set big stuff on it and just wheel it out of the way somewhere.
Well, actually, we could get casters. We could put the casters on one of those workbenches.
Could do. Or even a smaller version, and then like the big stuff can just be shifted, and then like a wee tray or something for if you're working on small things.
We'll try and
lift it and set it somewhere.
I'm going to try and get some more like big cloth things, and you can throw over big projects, because I know if somebody's doing woodwork and you've got electronics, you don't want it going everywhere.
We shouldn't be doing woodwork
But-
in there.
No, in there. I
In
mean,
there,
for in
that's
there
fine.
for the big projects because Robin's just that big ping pong table, so
Okay.
it needs covered and stuff. But yeah, it's the same for every room, even if it's in here. Even though you shouldn't really be leaving anything in here, if you are for some reason if you do need to leave it, label it because someone will move it without realizing or put it away thinking it's done, and then your whole thing could be ruined.
I find myself not noticing some labels though.
Well, that's when I say a label, an A4 page
Like
on
a
the
big
top
ass
that
label.
says in marker pen, please don't touch this.
We have no A4 paper, so I've had to be cutting A3.
Okay. This kind of leads into something that I originally had listed under marketing communications, but for the sake of argument, we'll plop it under here. I rewrote the donation policy and the hardware donation license to actually give examples, which it didn't before, and to highlight that basically if you don't label your shit becomes trash. So that link is on there now. It's kind of difficult to read if you don't know how to read Markdown, but the long story short is there's nothing different from what we do at the minute anyway. The short answer is read the hardware donation license, put a license that you think is appropriate to it. If you want to donate something, you email admin first and say, I would like to donate this. Then the directors and the NEMs decide whether A, it's worthwhile, B, it's safe, and C, whether we can use the space. If those are all satisfied, then we take it in, blah, 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 blah. It has somebody that is attributed to it who is the boss of that piece of equipment, or at least the source of that piece of equipment based on the hardware donation license that they use. So, there's no point in ratifying it now, but if people can have a look, or people who are interested can have a scan over that link, over the next couple of days we'll reach a collective decision to say whether we're happy enough to ratify that. Now, as I say, it'd be nice to be able to change these things and modify it, and if people have particular complaints about it, that's fair enough. But Daniel and I, especially over the past couple of weeks, have been dealing with an awful lot of this kind of shit.
I'd also add that the hardware donation license, and thanks for rewriting it by the way, Andrew, it's quite a unique little project in itself. So if everyone does have a chance to read it and contribute to it, we should tell the world about it, because I'm not sure that there may well be similar things out in the world, but I haven't seen them before. I think it's pretty cool.
Also, everyone missing.
Yo, Andrew?
We'll make him be quiet for 5 minutes.
He's frozen.
Oh. Right, next. So, I think it's Mark's ideas woodwork in the project room.
Yes, that was me. So, Mark, yeah, you and I, well, talked about this privately and then talked about this publicly. So, do you want to give your spiel?
Me or?
Yeah, I assume you.
Yeah. Well, it was just basically that I was looking to do some woodwork in the project room, and having done woodwork in my house, sawdust goes everywhere, and I didn't want to wreck everyone's stuff. So it was just as a, does anyone have any ideas how to do that?
Big dust sheet
Has
in the
anything
vacuum.
happened before like that, or?
Anyone have any experience of working with wood in a relatively enclosed space?
You need if you don't want to wreck stuff, you're just going to need a big dust sheet to throw over stuff, and probably need to invest in a really good vacuum to kind of suck it up at the end, because if it's left lying, then it gets everywhere. But if you clean it up like relatively soon after you've done the stuff, it won't go all over the show.
A lot of woodwork and stuff have what's the name of it? Like a vacuum shoe on it.
Yeah.
You put a vacuum in and it sucks 90% of it up as you go. But as you say, you need quite a good vacuum cleaner.
Yeah. You could probably do one with one for the space anyway, so maybe that's something to consider putting down and looking at, because if people are going to be doing that kind of work in the workshop, it's something we're going to need to have eventually anyway.
There's a couple of people who want to get started in woodwork and stuff, hopefully, so it's definitely.
Okay, so that sounds like there are two things. There's one is the curtain that's required, and
no, it's all.
Hang on, Andrew.
Yeah.
No, it's all Maple, I think.
Someone's going to have to translate for Glenn.
That was everything.
They're just talking about Maplewood.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But I think the answer for this is relatively simple, if not pricey, but at least requires money. So just regular, boring curtain, just plastic strip curtain, and yeah, it'll probably cost a couple £100, but it'll be fine. Along with a decent vacuum cleaner. So if somebody who knows more than I can, can price that out and give us a quote, then we've got money in the coffers that can pay for it. So.
Okay, well, do you want me to have a look into it?
Yes, please.
Yes. Yeah. And then I guess also, should we try to agree a policy that I don't think we've really ever noted down, that in any case you should always leave the space cleaner than you left it, right? So the same thing goes with projects. So just as you do have that as our policy, but if you're gonna do messy work, unless you have any very good reason not to, it's cleared up before you leave the space.
Well, can we go for a slightly more pragmatic perspective, which was that everyone's an asshole, but the most difficult thing to deal with is whenever somebody's using the project space, whenever you hoped and you dropped in at like 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon to try and use the space for your stuff. So it might actually be more beneficial to go for a scheduling option. So it's been a while since I've been in, but what's the back of the door?
It's gone again.
You've gone again. Also, well, not a while I've used away, but just another point on that is it's maybe worth when people are doing stuff, just stick a sign up and sitting in the window on the door or something, just to say that you're doing woodwork in there. Because if somebody else wanders through and is about to wander in, where's that thing?
Designated areas for each type of work. Like if you're going to be doing metal work or electronic work or woodwork, there's a designated area in the workshop.
Yeah,
I agree, but
in general, if
depends
it's
on-
happening.
Yeah, the size of the project can affect that as well.
Like
if somebody
Robin's
wants to
thing,
be
yeah.
building a really big thing,
If we do the caster idea and have one of the workshop tables on a caster, you can move that project about.
what I mean is just the size of the project itself. It might be big enough that when you have it laid out, it takes up the fair bit of the room. So that kind of thing. Like I agree with the sections to a degree, but it might be overtaken at points.
The plastic sheet to cover to create any sections. Can you get railings on the roof on the floor? So you could.
Makes me nervous. You can on this side.
Yeah.
You can
in
on
half
that
the
side.
room.
Because that side I rebuilt and made sure was secure. That side I didn't want to take down 70 tiles to refit them safely.
Glenn.
Is there a cam in the workshop?
A camera?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
There is, yes.
Yes, there is.
CCTV one,
Yeah.
but there's not with the.
Would it be worthwhile streaming a 30-second or however long update feed to the websites in such a way that you would know before you turn up?
Yeah.
There would be people that.
I sort of agree, but at the same time, I sort of disagree on the basis of if I was using it, I don't really want to be watched constantly.
We're going to do the snapshots.
Is it worth having something similar to what we originally had for Farsight in general, which is you press a button when you go into the room and it says online somebody's in the project room?
I like the button.
What does that mean?
Well, it just means the room, as it not something that automatically goes when you open the door, but just if you're about to go in it and use it for half an hour, you hit a button.
Maybe
there's a thing on the website that says
What
something's
about
there.
a Google Doc?
Maybe it's just
Google Doc never works. It never works. It will never work. The short answer is there are two options. It's, as Glenn said, either expose the camera feed or we do something really fancy. Daniel, you'll correct me. I think it was Pump Station 1, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
But somebody did a really, really nice activity monitor.
Just on topic, I don't actually think we have this problem yet, because once the project space is tidy, we'll have a lot more space to do work, and at that point we'll know if people are walking over each other's toes when they're working in projects.
The other side
the sort of
is
thing I was thinking was if that happens, they can just usually at that point discuss together if they like welcome down these evenings, and was that okay with you?
The other side
Okay.
is most of them are so small, probably the
Yeah.
projects, that it won't matter.
So we'll leave it like that for now. Then, shall we? Unless anyone has any major objections, that it's an issue to be considered in time. But let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the woodwork bit that talked about, isn't it?
I think so. Those
Great.
are covered.
Next, general facilities. Update on bathroom stroke plumbing.
Is she still banjaxed?
It's not exactly repaired.
Did the plumber come?
Plumber came, fixed the leak.
Is it still sinking into the wall, basically?
This is the hilarious part. All he basically did was
Tighten something.
tighten the nut, and then what he's done is he's actually cut a bit of pipe, hammered it flat, and stuck it behind the socket.
Yeah, that's an interesting method.
Maybe
I
you
guess.
just need. Maybe then that needs to be an email to Tom to say, look, I know you sent a plumber here, but this isn't going to fix the problem. It's still sinking into the flipping wall. It's only a matter of time before it goes again. Can we please get a proper repair? Maybe we just need to send that in an email to him and say, look, we can brace the wall
Yeah.
if you're happy enough with that, because if it's left this way, it's just going to go eventually, and a wee tiny repair is not going to fix it. The worst case scenario is it goes spectacularly one evening when we're not here.
Well, okay, I'll just leave you some to show me what it is. Yeah.
Another one on that is I let you know about it. Now the kitchen radiator, I repaired it last year at the top. It's only going at the bottom. It just needs either a new radiator or
a new wall.
Because it's
Well,
going
yeah.
over the kitchen. So it has a bit of bucket underneath.
At least it's not leaking as fast as it was last year.
It's
That was like you have to turn up every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's not so good.
You're a bucket of hard full kind of person, aren't you?
See, I was told no one did your work, so I haven't had a look at it. So yeah, I just sort of raised the bucket.
Did I hold that one against you?
I think whatever the rate is going up.
Okay.
I'm the door striker. Door striker is.
No, actually, just over here, John, talking about that. What's the story with the door striker?
It's kaput.
Buy a new one.
There we go.
Didn't we just do that?
No, we bought a new
No,
lock
you
for the
just bought
back
a lock
door.
for the
But
door. That's another thing. Workshop door. If you want that lock fitted, someone please supply me with the key so I can open the door to fit the lock.
That's
a fair point, right up.
Where is the key?
why can't you just do it by magic?
David has it.
Magic?
I'm not prepared to kick the door in to fit a lock to re-secure it.
I think it'd be fun.
That's what I take as magic anyway. Yes.
Better have two big locks rather than
Right, no, in terms of actually putting actions on this, right, David, is David actually still there? He's been fairly quiet.
Yes, he's over there.
Right. David, buy a new door striker. There we go.
Please, thank you.
Okay. There's another point here about the general tidiness of the space, particularly the co-working space.
Stop making a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we'll hit you.
There is a clear desk policy, basically. You know, if you come in here and you use the desk, for that matter, if you use any cutlery or anything, it needs to be clean. I mean, putting stuff in the sink, for instance, or leaving it on a desk doesn't. The laws of physics defy it from suddenly cleaning itself.
And also,
Right.
you're paying like £25, £35 a month. So you're not paying to have a desk to yourself all the time.
Yeah.
There are other people wanting to use it, so please have the decency to just clean it. It'll take you 5 minutes.
And because there's a kind of group sort of absent-mindedness sometimes that we're all party to without even realizing it, kind of diffusion of responsibility. Whatever. I think the default is to, rather than getting frustrated by other people's mess, just clean it up. Basically, not all of it, but just do more than you think you've made, because you probably made more mess than you realize.
Maybe we should put up a board in the space, a cork board, and then you can take a photograph and print it on the printer and stick it to the board and be like, whoever left this mess, I hate you.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. The problem is that you then end up in these passive-aggressive wars. Like interestingly enough, we had there's the post on Facebook last week, which ended up leading on to a very constructive conversation.
I just mean literally a corkboard on the space. Like your mess is being noticed. People are tidying it up, but nobody's happy about it, and it maybe would get a point across.
I think if it doesn't get better, it is time to properly go. We have CCTV. You all know we have CCTV, and if there's a constant mess, and if it's clearly the same things over and over again, we will find out who you are, and we will speak to you personally and say, why that.
But that to me makes more sense than the sort of public message type thing.
I'm sorry, but I disagree. I really, really disagree. I think that in terms of, this is supposed to be a semi-public space. It's supposed to be a community of people who work together to try and make the world a slightly better place. And trying to hide the deficiencies in that community by sort of dealing with it internally doesn't actually solve the larger problem. Which is why I took it upon myself to post what happened last week onto the boards. And John and I have had discussions about this before, so it's nothing new. But the short answer is, whenever somebody who is a member of the space is posting online publicly and saying, "Look, this place is a fucking shithole," we have no recourse but to respond publicly. So I don't think this should be something that should be solved internally. I tried to do the unname and shame thread on Discourse, where the idea was that people could, quietly post up photos of, things being fucked up, and, for people to realize that they had been caught out without ever actually being caught out. But the problem is that that's not actually working. I don't like the idea of chasing down people through CCTV, but if it continues, that's what I'm going to be doing. And fuck, I've got 5 screens around me, so I will sit and watch the CCTV.
I mean, as the Facebook comment goes last week, that was an oversight. Now, someone else did make a mess, but it was an oversight of myself that I should have cleaned it. If someone makes a mess, fucking own up to it.
Yeah.
I mean, just come out and say, shit, sorry guys, fucked up.
The only problem with that is that we have had the problem in the past where people have said to me, "I'm really clean, I don't understand why other people leave a mess." And then I look around and go, "Well, that was you, and that was you, and that was you, so what are you talking about?" Some people are very much in denial to the point where it takes someone else going, "You left that mess, and you need to be the one to tidy it up."
Yeah. For that matter, I've only once done it because I actually commented to somebody because I'd finally seen him making and it's something I just hadn't even thought about. I felt really guilty about it, and I haven't seen it since. So there's nothing wrong with going to another member and saying, "Do you mind?" As long as you're being polite and positive about it, it's a good thing to do. In fact.
I like that idea better than the kind of images on the board, or I don't know. It just reminds me of passive aggressive notes in kitchens that never work.
Yeah. See, I do notes aggressively, so it makes sense to me, but it doesn't make sense to anybody else.
Just aggressive.
It's be like, "Why did you do this? I hate you. Love, Rachel." It's pretty much what you would get. There's no passive aggressive there.
There is another option. If you charge maybe another £1 or £2 for it, you could hire somebody to come in once a week.
The problem is with that is cleaners will not pick up shit off desks. They will wipe down desks, they will wipe down the floor, and they will brush the floor. They aren't going to go around and pick up rubbish and crap off desks. They don't do that.
It's more complicated than that. It's more complicated than that. The issue is that we're dealing with an environment that is worse than most.
Even if they didn't do that, at least we got part of it. I mean, they'll go to clean up the kitchen.
That's the desk.
Which is what you guys are kind of.
Yes, but then they start cleaning up people's projects and tidying around wires and tidying up, little bits of circuit that look like waste and throwing them into the bin. And you can't win. We've looked at this at least 5 times since we've started this, and cleaners still don't make any sense.
What about having a general principle, a general rule that before you can get to use a desk space or a space? So, for example, when we came and had the Gilchrist and Co party, we cleaned the place before we started, and then we cleaned the place the day after we left. So hopefully it was better before we started and better after we left. And have that principle generally that if you're going to use a table, the rule is that you clean the table before you start and you clean the table before you leave. And that means if somebody gets up and goes to sleep and say, "Oh, By the way, the rule is.
That is pretty much the rule. It's just that people aren't following.
No, it's not just pretty much the rule. I think it's actually, as far as I'm aware, the last time that we rewrote it, it is in the code of conduct that you leave the place slightly better than you found it.
Something that just makes that absolutely clear. Clean the desk restart. Clean the desk restart.
I was speaking to Andrew about this last night, just in relation to the town hall. Was the suggestion maybe we just need to put a big sign up on the wall saying "Please tidy up your cup," just as a reminder. Yeah, because then somebody will look up and see it and be like, "Oh yeah, I should tidy my stuff."
That. Also, I think mine's making a point that it's actually one step further, and it does make sense. I mean, like, I used one of the desks in here a few weeks ago and had to scrub the keyboard because there's so much congealed human grease on the key. It's kind of horrible.
Can we not have some sort of varsity overlord PA type of thing? No, like something that...
Don't just not today. Don't use the word overlord.
Something like varsity labs. Enjoy your space.
We used to have a speaker that Andrew just creeped people out by speaking over.
I don't mean like that. I mean like a pre-recorded message.
Well, you just re-record popular songs by us and say clean.
I would not find it today. I couldn't find the tea towels either.
Where are all the tea towels I bought actually? On a side note, because I saw one of them in the skip. I was slightly unimpressed.
Could we get these towels instead of, because obviously the tea towels in case they get dirty as well. Just one of those type of things that.
Given that value quality is all so cheap and the market is such, it might be about buying even for an ideal.
There's the work going back to paper plates and stuff as well.
Town hall meetings. Before we leave the town hall meeting, we all clean a little bit of one table, and maybe that. So every time we have an event, we say, right, we'll take 5 minutes before we go pick one thing up.
A
month is a long time.
Part of the problem is that a lot of the mess isn't often made by the big events. A lot of the mess is somebody who was here late at night by themselves and went, "Oh shit, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to run home. I'll just leave," because they assume that they forget that people are going to be down at 9 o'clock the next morning.
Right, this is literally the oldest conversation in Farset. So I think we need to tie a bow under this and just basically say the same thing that we've said every other time, which is we bitch slap people, we tell them that they should do better, we try and be better by example, but it's really not gaining anything by us discussing it.
Okay, moving on.
I realise I'm moving on, and this is not actually on exactly the same subject. The code of conduct that exists. Code of conduct is a big set of locations of text and kind of, these are the core principles. This is the code of conduct, but these are the core principles.
Didn't we? Well, we had a test version online. I'm not sure if it's on the new website.
No, it is.
It's there, but it shouldn't actually be concept too, right?
Yeah. And also, I'm lax for not getting the member handbook into shape, which kind of overlaps with it in a way, but it's more of a kind of guide to being a member of a place like this.
Sorry, Ben, I hate to jump in, but the...
Glenn's speaking, hold on.
Sorry.
Well, I can barely hear him, so...
Sorry?
He can't really hear you. Try it out.
It wasn't much more than sarcasm. Very loud sarcasm. But given the TLDR nature of people, and also if anyone is even the remotest region of dyslexia, reading that code of conduct is just like hell.
So a condensed, simple kind of bullet point version of it really needs to be.
Look, I would love to make a grand argument, but the simple answer is that if you click the About Rules page on the website, it reads, and I quote, "Any community needs a few rules to stay safe and fun. We don't like making more than we have to. These can be summarized in 2 statements. Leave the space better than you found it. Treat others and their stuff as you expect you and your stuff to be treated. If this is somehow not clear or you believe to have found a loophole, please read on." There are then the what actually amounts to less than a few pages, but more than a dozen pages of the Code of Conduct, the Operations Manual, the Child Protection Policy, the Equality Policy, and the Hardware Donation License. Glenn, I would love you to write a more TLDRs than that.
Yeah. Also, I think now when somebody signs up on PayPal for the first time, the starting new membership email does say, here are the few things you need to know, I think. Is that right? Sound right, Andrew?
As far as I'm aware, yes, but that membership management system has never been happy with anybody.
Okay. But at least there's no excuse for saying, I didn't know it existed, whereas a lot of us who've been around it for a while may never have had the code come up.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's just sort of, that's the thing, it's like, I don't know, it's getting everyone at the same level of communication is so tricky.
I don't want to be harsh here, but I don't think it really requires you to have read a code of conduct to understand don't leave your crap behind you. Like, I don't think that we really need to be on that point stressing the code of conduct, because really it should be basic knowledge that you don't leave your mess behind you. Well, yes, but, you know, what was my mistake? I don't want to discuss who you lived with.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of handholding in basic social ethics.
I was going to say, is it worth when the member handbook is done, sending it out to all the existing members as well as everyone new, just to go, I know you've been here a while, but please try and remember.
That's the plan, but if anyone wants to help contribute to that will be very welcome.
I'll help.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Am I allowed to do charity capsule?
I actually started a separate document for that.
Okay.
I'll show it to you.
Sorry for shouting.
That's fine.
It's just the
Is there
best
any way
part
I
is when
hear
we
you?
all just yell things. I think that's
Oh no, the only way that I'm going to allow a member handbook is for the simple reason that we can reduce the number of other fucking rule books that we've got at the minute.
Well, yeah.
It should not be to add onto these, it should be to condense. So the entire idea of moving the front page website onto GitHub was to make it that we could put all of the policies and arguments of how the space is run into the public domain and into the community domain. So the idea is really, really simple. It's if you can think of a better code of conduct, write one, put in a pull request, and we'll discuss it here.
Does anybody know Stephen Downey, comic book artist?
Yeah.
Would anybody have a problem if I asked him and another friend of mine, Andy Luke, could they get together and make like a comic version, like a comic book condensed?
That would be quite awesome, actually.
Yeah.
It would be better than the famous Valve handbook.
Andy's like quite bored at the minute. Stephen's looking for something new to do.
That's good.
Yeah.
Pictures of people getting their hands cut off everywhere.
Things going on fire, you know.
Yeah. Well, he can be. I'll catch him on the right day.
What's the next one?
Okay, next, finance. So, Dylan's not here, so we haven't got the details. It says, Andrew, do you want to lead this?
He's gone.
Okay, it says paid up on agreed rent, insurance all sorted, not aware of any major upcoming costs. And as far as I know, for the first time, well, not for the first time, but we have a little bit of money in the bank and have done for a few months now, so that's good. We're just waiting for the next disaster to get rid of that.
Or we just buy the most expensive cruiser we can buy.
Exactly, we'll find some way to waste it. But the details are limited at the moment, but we are at least in more positive shape than we have been in the past, which is good.
I'm wasting money and like basing on to the next one of marketing as well. I have an idea.
That's always a worrying start to a
It's really
sentence for
an
me.
out there idea, right? You know the way we have that massive network cabinet. I spoke to you earlier on about this, Ben and Stan. Can we turn the massive network cabinet into a TARDIS and put it behind the reception and have the network running out of a TARDIS? It's a good thing for people to walk in and see. Second of all, quite recently the BBC have become quite interested in Farsit, and it will like be like quite come on sort of thing.
Any objections or additions to that?
Definitely not.
It's another cool project, and it's one of those ones that hopefully won't die off this time round. So I think.
Second idea is over there. Can I put in some cupboards?
Slow down here.
Just in relation to accounting, obviously we do the financial accounts, but that's really something that only happens at the end of the year. We're not really, it's not really supposed to be involved, but we're not involved in the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, frankly. However, you should be aware that, and you probably are already, maybe this has been discussed, that the charities legislation is changing, and the reporting that you have to do is becoming an awful lot more stringent. Coming forward in the new year, so there'll be new legislation comes into effect. I think it would be useful to tighten up the due diligence that the directors undertake around the financial issues. So possibly monthly, but certainly quarterly management accounts would be very useful. So all the directors are familiar with exactly what the financial position already are, and that you're satisfied that you're meeting all the requirements as directors under the legislation. Whether that's Gilchrist Co sitting down with you and saying, look, these are the key points you need to be aware of, are you? Or whatever, that we actually sit down and get that done. Just protect the directors from any unforeseen consequences or liabilities that might arise under the new legislation.
Well, that'd be the short answer. It would be that if Gilchrist and Co can lend ourselves a couple of hours and just give us a list of things that we're missing or could be done better, then Martin, you know us, so as soon as we're given a list of things to do, it'll be done.
That's what worries me. there was a list.
A list with a different director, but we'll see.
Okay, and if you can mark up, like all these things are important, but obviously, in my view, would be mark this as a priority.
Well, we'll just get a meeting set up. Yes. That's brilliant. Thank you. Do you want to put cupboards in there?
Cupboards in there because like it looks quite open. Plus, it would help if we could actually get the Coder Dojo stuff put out of sight and away and just not interfered with. And whatever, we could just be put away in cupboards. It would be quite nice.
Then,
if you're talking cupboards, are you talking fitted cupboards, or are you talking?
Well, not fitted cupboards. Just basically putting in the struts and like folding like no hinges.
Also, really permanent additions. So I don't know. I would be very hesitant to add any more permanent additions.
But we don't want the table when we build it.
Yeah, not table. That's permanent, and I would be much more keen to see furniture that can be moved.
It's basically just put it out of sight.
Yeah. It's kind of focus.
Yeah.
Less permanent additions are better.
My question on that one's really, really simple. It's that if you've got a box that is labeled on 8 sides Coder Dojo, why are people still going into it? It doesn't matter whether it's in a cupboard or, shifted away under the basement or whatever. It still leads to the same problem.
Right. Well, does anybody have a problem with me buying a shower rail out of my own money and getting like a black curtain and putting it on? In that case,
on a box,
permanent, but it keeps it out of sight.
Under the desk, I think he means, in the event space. You might put a curtain on the box.
Just basically put a curtain on the bottom of that desk, and then I have to do something.
Yeah, no, I just think Andrew thought you were going to put it on the box.
Fuck no.
But
what are we a magician
Okay,
still? No.
that sounds alright.
Right,
Right, onwards.
Yes.
Marketing and communications. Clarification of event booking procedures. There's Andrew and Glenn's name against it.
That's mostly my creation. I'm going to be the same way that this time around I've been writing the donation policy and hardware donation license and the NEMS profiles, which I forgot to put in there, but it is in that diff. As soon as that one's done through, I'll also be writing the event booking procedure based on the experience that we're having at the minute, which is we've got somebody who wants to use the space on Glen. Please correct me, it's the 9th, I think?
9th of June, yeah.
TLDR, wants to use the space, 15 people, projector, that's about it in terms of requirements. Is anyone around to be able to be a sister to this event, or
Monday.
during the day?
Oh, not a chance.
That's the tricky part, really, because Monday during the day is a lot of people.
What's required?
There is nothing required. It is literally you are to be physically in the space and know the space better than they do. That's it.
Okay.
Normally I might be able to, but every other Monday I can't. I can't do that one.
But that kind of situation is going to, if there's a couple, that's going to come up more.
Well, I mean, the difficulty is that we're a hackerspace, not an event venue.
Yeah. But we're going to have to figure out some way of a call to arms to get someone who, like Hannah, can step in when necessary, if necessary. If it was a Saturday or Sunday, I could probably do it, or if it's early in the morning, I can do it. But
does anybody have any objection to me doing it on Monday? It can count toward certain things. You get me then?
No objection.
No.
Personally, no.
Okay, I'll present it on
Can we get your special support? like a with a badge that says hello, my name is John.
Is this like a special farce onesie?
Yeah.
I have a dragon
with the logo all over it.
I have a dragon.
You're not wearing a dragon.
No, you have to have a onesie that has the Farset logo all over it.
Right. We can get into the details of John's particular coverings later.
Here, I went to Dublin Road Cinema in nothing but a dragon onesie and nobody batted an eyelid. It's perfectly acceptable.
That's Dublin Road Cinema. You're near enough to bars.
But yeah, there's a couple of things I think that came out of the email conversations we had earlier this week that I'd like to get clarified on paper, just about how to arrange particular events or how to link up with other events. Because I think, like Claire, you've gone through this with Gathering Lightning and a lot with linking Farset into other things that aren't necessarily run by Farset. Stuff like that. It's going to take either a few goes to get it right, or else write down your experiences in the past. Really.
Can I make a wee suggestion for Gathering a Lightning? It's just random, put in my head. Can we, if it's going to be a consistent event in the calendar, can we maybe have a wee section on the website where people can go in and look and maybe put up that they want to do talks? So that then you have like a list of people you can maybe go to. Yeah.
Well, as I, the BCS rep, actually paying for it every 3 months. So it makes sense to me as well, because I need to be able to sort of push it to the, I've got 1,000 members. I'm trying to push some of them to come down there.
Yeah.
Actually, worth mentioning about the mini Gathering Lightning Farset for that reason. I asked if Farset could provide basically an hour's worth of material for an event I run in QCon in Queens. Which is a series of talks done by game design professionals, computer game designers, and it's just like an hour section dedicated to Farset, providing an hour worth of material that will be Gathering Lightning style material, and that's on Saturday the 21st of June.
And to clarify, that's not games.
Yeah, it's more with Farset point of view, it's more sort of software and hardware hacking, but it's because the talks event on Saturday, the thing in general, that mainly features entertainment and design.
There's a bit more, if I'm totally out, I get more people up here, then and show it up on the BCS website.
There's an entire site page.
Okay. So we're on to any other business, right? Okay, could outstanding items from previous meetings be added to the current agenda? This was something planning to view over a couple of meetings, maybe get items. Unique IDs to keep track. Perhaps this is overkill.
Simply an idea that if you give a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way down, then you can say it's easier to pull it forward in the next document, so you can actually see straight up at the beginning. Number 3 from 3 months ago is still outstanding.
Well, I think this should be something that should be dealt with by Jira.
Which is quite easy to do. That's what we do in work. It keeps things easy. Every time you go to a meeting, you see all things that are outstanding from the previous 4 or 5 months. They're all numbered, so you can say 3.6 is against you. Why haven't you done it 4 months ago?
Yeah.
We don't do it here, so I'm sure we'll lose track of things.
That's a good point.
Funnily enough, we do more or less do that in the town halls, where we recycle the previous town hall, or sorry, not the town halls, the director meetings. We recycle the previous directors meetings, and basically we only score off the things that are done. It leads to quite long directors meetings, but it seems to do the job. The difficulty is that there's an awful lot of time that passes between town halls, so things are done, things are not done, and actually, if you have a look at the previous 2 town halls, which I accidentally did because I printed off the wrong 2, there's actually no actions that I could see. Now, I'm happy to be wrong. There's no actions that I could see that were actionable between then and now.
I don't think it's a specific point about this time. It's just in general for future.
Yeah, it just makes it easier, I find, to...
It's not going to hurt anyone if we try it and see. We're not going to suffer from adding numbers to our bullet points.
Okay, we'll try it next time. Okay, and last of all, Andrew's, I think this is Andrew's, possible offer of a commercial bean to cup coffee machine. Are we interested? It may require some plumbing and electrical work.
How much cleaning of this machine would be required on a project?
It's mainly it's got a refrigeration unit at the side.
The coffee stuff that you put in the machine.
That's what I mean. How much does that cost and everything?
It's not the cost. It's if you leave it there for an extended period of time, it will go moldy very, very quickly. And people like myself, if I'm in contact with mold, I'm fucked. I'm hospitalized.
We do drink a lot of coffee here, though, so it's probably not.
But then we search, like, you have 3 people in a day, but then you could have 4 days where nobody's here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that, you end up having to be more strict about you must clean it out whenever you leave, and then it's not worth it.
Talbot, who would be in charge of?
Second of all, we know nothing about this coffee machine. We don't know what load it takes. The kitchen was basically the kitchen was rewired back on the its set reason and all that. You know what I mean? That was done months ago. We don't know what load this coffee machine takes. We don't know where it's from. We don't know if it's pat tested or anything. I certainly wouldn't be comfortable.
Of all of the things that are potentially wrong with this idea, the electrical load would be the least of my concerns.
The machine's largely working. The only thing that's not working on it is there's a milk fridge at the side that needs repaired.
Define milk fridge.
Well, it's like a little sort of thing that you put the milk in, and then it's sucked into the tube, and then you press a button, and your coffee's made.
How big is this thing?
It's like the ones like when you go into the spa. It's like those ones.
Adam, is this the same coffee machine that you said that was possibly pulled out of a cafe and might require 3-phase electric somehow?
It was actually it used to be in a hotel, but they got a new one.
Right. Is this the same coffee machine you're talking me about?
Seriously? I can't remember how much electric it needed because we nearly sold it to someone else, but then they had bought another one and they had an electrician look at it, and they had been able to plug it in a normal socket and it worked. But you would probably want to look at it because you know more than me about that stuff.
I mentioned 3-phase to me at the time.
Okay, well, let's not get into ridiculous. Does anyone desperately want a commercial grade coffee machine in space?
I don't think so.
Sounds like more stress than our start.
No, it's been up over. Thank you very much.
They need to get a new name.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that we would really like to have if we had gone into the original space that we wanted to go into, where we had the hackerspace on the top floor, the co-working space on the middle floor, and the cafe on the bottom. But unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. So I personally don't think the coffee machine's worth having.
Okay.
Yes.
Just something that I don't know, Martin, could you speak about the thing you mentioned before? Okay. Just check with that. Also,
a small point, which was because people were talking about the cabinet, and I recall previous mention of people wanting sewing machines. I found one I'm purchasing myself, so I let you know. But they're little £20 ones that just work by your foot. So they maybe would be something more flippy them too if you want to get a couple of them, because they don't need to be powered by anything. They are cheap and they're small, so they're easily stored in a box out of the way.
David's up if he wants to buy.
Yeah.
David wants a like $3,000 sewing machine, I think. So.
Any other business to add?
yes, just in relation to outreach outside Farset itself and trying to involve ourselves with other groups and activities and stuff that go on. Following on from the ongoing conversation in Down Business Collaborative Network, which is now the Business Collaborative Network, which is basically just a seeding platform for seeding ideas. One of the things we're trying to seed was the idea of a hubs forum or a collaborative hubs network or a co-working space network, how we could support the activities of groups like that rather than be an overseeing group. Developments from that is that Suzanne Murdoch from the Hub Newry, Thomas Mann from Belfast City Hub, and others are sort of now bringing that conversation a little bit forward. And we're trying to create basically a steering group or an ideas group for ways in which we can support hubs, forums, groups such as this. An idea, for example, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but one idea would be, how do we fill tables in spaces like this? How do we create a platform that will identify empty table tables at certain times of the day, so if I want to go and use a hub space, I know where they are by looking on my iPad. So that might be an idea. Just to let the group know, the town hall know that this is happening. And if you're interested in finding out more about what we're actually trying to do, certainly give me a wee shout, and I'll be happy to bring anybody that wants to get involved into that conversation. But the general premise is, loads of different hubs out there, all doing different things, all doing great jobs, but what are the underlying common problems or good things that we can work on to support all the hubs generally?
So if someone wants to get involved in that conversation, that would be great. I mean, my balance is pretty tight, but
okay, yeah,
brilliant. Anything else? All right, this meeting is closed. Thank you very much. But it's great to see the turnout's even bigger than last month.
What? So we're finished before 9?
Long meeting.
What?
So
This is absurd. First time we finished before 9 o'clock in a long time.
well, it's still like a long meeting, but yeah,
Yeah.
really good stuff.
That's just because normally we get to 9 o'clock and people are going, no, just stop talking.
Yeah.
We have to go home. Whereas we've actually finished within time.
Finished.
Right. Yes, Sarah. Nice. He's alright. God.
Great stuff.
That wasn't me. That was Rachel. That wasn't me. I would not.
I know, but I think we're done now, so we can stop the broadcast and then go.